Welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show, highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyles, community and neighborhood. And now, from 4 Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Good morning and welcome to the talk show, All Things Moore County. Every week we're privileged to have different guests, different storylines, people who are passionate about Moore County.
Oh boy, we do have a lot of them, don't we?
Yeah, we do. We have so many different themes that we seem to keep coming back to on the show. And one of those themes is community action, giving a table to, or a microphone, I should say.
Yeah, it's more like a microphone.
Yeah, to a lot of the nonprofit organizations in Moore County, where people are trying to share, help others, pay it forward, make a better life for the generation that comes behind them. And we're going to kind of stick with that theme today. We're going to be speaking with 3 guests from an outfit called Concerned Citizens for Community Actions. They're based out of West End, North Carolina, and they started as a community organization, I guess, back in 2016, and they have been holding monthly meetings in different churches in Moore County, and they have been able to galvanize and get up with us and want to talk to us about the programs of the Concerned Citizens for Community Action and what they're doing and why. My 3 guests are Janet Person, who is a co-chair of the Concerned Citizens, Kathy Dunlop, who I now know is not just a secretary, but is probably the jack of all trades, maybe, and the master of none, or maybe the master of all trades. But when someone is called secretary, that means they do a lot. So I'd say good morning to both of you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. And Isaac Jenkins, who is the chairperson of the committee, Concerned Citizens for Community Actions. Isaac, you contacted me about, oh my gosh, maybe 2 months ago?
That's correct, Bill.
And we have, good morning to you.
Good morning, Bill.
So we are always interested to hear about all the different perspectives. There's so many grassroots organizations, but yours is very special, and I'd like you to tell me why.
Well, Concerned Citizen, we organized this group about a year ago, a little over a year ago.
Right. And
we organized it because we first we went out into the community speaking to residents living in the Eagle Spring, Western Jackson Spring area.
Yeah.
And the analysis concluded from these conversations were that our youth and community was suffering from a lack of programs, services, and opportunities that could upgrade the quality of life in the community. And it also appears that our community have fell into a classification called underbounded community. So putting this group together, we felt that we could outreach to the community, organize and bring the young folks, educate the young folks,
right,
and somehow unite them with the community and give them, a perspective on, how a community should.
And when you speak about the youth, what age group are you targeting?
Well, we're targeting youth from the age of probably 8, 9, up to about 20, 21,
okay,
or older.
So you want to provide, if you're in reaching out to this age group, what is it you're hoping to provide to them that they don't have at this point?
To be honest with you, we're trying to educate the young folks, and we're trying to inspire them and to motivate them to where they can reach out and look at within themselves and discover that there is a better way than the life that they're living right now. We know that, a lot of our young folks is caught up into elements that is not conducive to society. And I feel that it's really because that no one have actually came and tried to motivate them and show them that there is a way. We look at the employment statistic of young adults in our community. They have no hope. They have no hope at all.
Yeah.
They don't see a tomorrow. So this organization will educate them, inspire them, motivate them, and show them understand that there is a tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing with the young folks.
Is there a relationship between some of the youth that you're talking about and the family situations?
Of course.
Yeah.
Family, the family statistic, is very sad. A lot of our adult families, some of them doesn't have the educational background that they should have. So economically, understand, their style of living is not up to par as opposed to a person who have gotten a well-rounded educational background.
Right.
So again, our contention is that if we can bring the young folks into the same environment with the young folks, with the older folks, and at the same time, give them some career development, give them some continuous education. Not just speaking about the young folks. Older folks also, too, need to have some continuous education. They need to discover a different skill that they don't have right now to meet the conventional market.
Mm-hmm. A lot of these kids maybe are born into one-parent families. Is that and start off at a very young age where their expectation is no hope?
Well, I definitely from being in the community, I do see a pattern that somehow most of these kids emulate and understand what they have seen in their development and their growth. So I do see that pattern. But, I see also that the young folks is reaching out because they want help. And when you begin to talk to them and sit them down and say, they'll sit there very attentively. They'll listen to you and they'll offer you, give you suggestions, understand, on how things should be in their community.
Yeah. The, Janet, you're the co-chair. Tell me a little bit about how you got involved in this group, because everybody that's at this table probably has a reason why, and I do want to touch on that a little bit as well.
Well, after talking and meeting Mr. Jenkins, we had the same in common about our youth, because our youth in the community, they need something to do, and that's why we just got together. And decided to conform this organization, Concerned Citizens for Community Action.
Right.
And our youth are suffering, So.
Yeah. Do you have children of your own?
Yes, I do.
What ages? Yes.
There's 28 and age 32.
Huh? You have a 28 and a 32-year-old?
Yes, I have a son that plays for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Is that right?
Yes, his name is Cam Thomas.
No kidding.
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm more amazed that he plays for the Kansas City Chiefs or that he's that old.
Yes, he's been in there ever since 2010. He played with the San Diego Chargers first. That's where he got drafted.
Right.
Then he left there. He went to the Pittsburgh Steelers for 2 years.
Right.
And then he went to the Rams, LA Rams.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a native of the West End area?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Eagle Springs, West End, yes.
So, growing up in the area, you are trying to help facilitate a better way for that next the next young generation coming up?
No, I didn't grow up there, but when I got married, I've been in this area for about 20 years.
Yeah.
And I saw some of the things Mr. Jenkins seen.
Yeah.
And it was just an honor just to meet him, and we get together and try to, help our youth out.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Kathy Dunlop, I want to ask you the same question. What got you involved in the organization?
Well, I was born and raised in Moore County and traveling and came back years later, and I realized the need is desperately needed here in Moore County with our youth. They are such a need. They're all wanting somewhere to go and something to do, and there's really nothing here for them.
And if they have nowhere to go and something to do, the tendency is they can get in trouble.
Yes.
They can make bad decisions
Awful.
at a young age when they don't know the difference, but some of those decisions can affect them going forward. You can talk about, some of the problems, and you correct me if I'm wrong. Drugs.
Yes.
Premarital sex.
Oh, yes.
Drinking. What am I missing?
That pretty much sums
crime.
it up. There's an awful lot of crime and stuff going on, and our youth could be, if they're somewhere positive, doing something aggressive, then they'll stay out of this trouble, I feel.
Yeah. Are you a mom as well?
Yes.
I'm afraid to ask after I just asked Janet. Your children?
I only have one.
Okay. And please tell me that they're under 20.
No,
Oh my gosh, here we go.
39.
Oh, come on.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Goodness. Doris, am I just so old that everyone looks so young to me?
Well, you see, we have young parents here.
Goodness.
Yes.
Were you, okay, so you had to be very young moms.
No.
Oh, please,
Yes.
come on.
No, afraid not.
Goodness. Okay. All right, I have to switch over to Isaac. Tell me about your background. Tell me about your motivation. Tell me why you are where you are right now today.
Well, I grew up in West End. I left West End when I was 11. In the 11th grade. I was just turning 18. I went to New Jersey, and upon getting to New Jersey, I was immediately scooped up by a community activist and put into a community organization. And then they began to teach me how to relate to a community, and made me the chairman of a youth group. In 1969, I became the chairman of a community youth group, and through that group, we were able to be a very important part of electing the first African American mayor in the city of Newark. And from there, I went on to become director of the United Community Organization, vice president of the United Community Cooperation, which was a federal funded program that would address poverty in the community. And then in 1986, I was elected as a county committee man representing the Central Ward 13th District. And that is what inspired me, my background, and coming through what we call the struggle at that time. And I've seen a community understand that have suffered because of education, suffered because of unemployment, suffered because of poor housing, and because we was able to motivate, mobilize, and organize those communities and get those people to stand up and begin to tie up their bootstraps and to do something, understand, for themselves, and not so much want the government to do everything for you, because government has enough responsibility. But and my mindset was molded in a way that you get up and do something for self. So this is what we're trying to do here in this area, is to motivate the young folks and the community in general, that it's not all about what the government is doing. It's what you're doing in your community.
Right.
You can't spell community without you. So you got to be involved.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to get the churches, the businesses, business person. We want them to unite and try to generate some enthusiasm in your own community. Go into empower yourself, pool your resources, and try to develop businesses on your own. And not so much depend on other people to putting business to you. So my background has been good. I was 18 years old when I was put into a community organization, and from there until this day.
Yeah.
And then I still had the belief that a community can rise.
Right.
And the only way it's going to rise that you got to organize.
Right. You talk about a couple of very important things about self-generating, taking individual responsibility, not waiting for somebody to do something for you. Funding for all sorts of agencies is down. Monies at both the state and the federal level. You have to rely on yourselves. You can't rely on somebody to throw dollars your way, right?
Right. I agree.
And so the pressure is to think of ways to fundraise.
Exactly.
And fundraising becomes a very challenging thing because there are so many organizations right now in Moore County who are looking for ways to fundraise. There's so many needy organizations, and I hope in the second set we can talk about some of the things that you're planning to do in terms of fundraising. And I know you want to share a story. Actually, I saw the YouTube video. It was very touching. A success story of what could happen, what can happen if somebody applies themselves. And you obviously were very proud of that because you shared it with me just a couple of days ago.
We have a young lady, she's 18 years old, Makalia Raines.
Yeah.
And she just graduated May 13th.
Yeah.
From Fayetteville State University.
Yeah.
At 18 years old.
At 18 years old.
And that was because, we was able, to help train her way of thinking. And were able to show her through the example that we were setting, the things that we would think, the way we think. And she was able to have a mother that worked very diligent with her and helped educate her. And she graduated at 18 years old from Fayetteville State University. She's getting ready to go on to college, major in psychology. Yeah. And she's the youth representative for Concerned Citizen for Community Action.
Let's hold that thought. We're going to come back in the second set. We're speaking this entire show about Concerned Citizens for Community Action, some of the challenges, and hopefully some of the rewards that you hope to reap. This is All Things Moore County.
Always something happening, and it's usually quite loud. Our mum, she's so house proud. Nothing ever slows her down, and a mess is not allowed.
Welcome back to our second set. We're speaking with Concerned Citizens for Community Action. They're going to be hosting a black tie event on the 16th of September in order to raise funds for their mission to help the youth, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. If any of you get the Seven Lakes Insider, in the August edition, there's a great article all about the premise for Concerned Citizens, talking about the services and the programs and some of the long-term goals that you have. And one of them is a recreational and developmental center.
Yes.
Or development center. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, we are, our plan of action is to build a recreation, culture, and development complex on Highway 211 in Eagle Springs. And this complex would help us train young folks and we'll be able to service at least 500 to 1,000 local youth and families in the area.
Mm-hmm. You have a meeting, or you just had a meeting, I guess a couple of days ago at the Zion Groves AME Church?
Correct.
In Eagle Springs?
Correct.
And you had quite a list of impressive guests. Helena Wallen Miller.
Yes.
Commissioner Louis Gregory.
Correct.
There's a Austin Scherer, I guess, who is affiliated with Senator Tom Tillis.
Yes, she's the district representative for United States Senator Tom Tillis.
April Rainier, One Point Education Enterprises.
Yes.
And Tawana Brown, Beauty After Four, The Bars.
Mm-hmm. And we also have, we had Dion Allbrooks from the program director for the Salvation Army, and Christy Gilpin, who is the representative for Classic Conversation, which is a program that do home school for the youngsters.
And the type of people that you had in attendance, were they? Was it just for the board, or was it for the families in the area?
Well, it's for the family, not just for the board. It's for the family, for the community. We will have. We had residents that came in from Eagle Spring, West End, Jackson Spring. So they're from all over the community.
You started this about a year ago?
Yes.
September of last year?
Correct.
So Janet and Kathy, I'll ask you a question. Do you sense a synergy? Do you sense, you know how the little snowball rolls down the hill, and the more snow it gathers, the bigger it gets, then it knocks you over? Do you kind of find that momentum is happening? Do you sense that?
Yes, we do.
Are you reaching out in the community one-on-one? Are you? I mean, you're doing a radio show to get the word out, but how do you get the word out? Besides
word of mouth, we're from telephone calls to door-to-door visiting. We ride by, give information, we talk to them and let them know what's going on, and they really seem to appreciate it. Even for Easter, we did a wonderful fundraiser, well, not fundraiser in general. It was a community cookout, and the community joined together, and it was wonderful. People came as far from Eagle Springs, Zion Grove, West End, Eastwoods, Canterbury. We had a great time.
We also do flyers too, and I go from door to door in the community, and I talk with some of the residents that are staying there, and they are very enthusiastic about what we're trying to do in the community.
Yeah. Are all the youth that you're reaching, are they all in the school system?
90% of them within the school system. We have a very low percentage of those that's not, and that's why we're focusing on those kids before. We don't want them to get too far out there.
Right.
And we want to, even though they're in the school system in the 10th, 11th grade, their behavior is not acceptable to the community, and so we want to correct this right now, before they get too far out there.
Can you give me an example of what you mean about the behavior not being acceptable?
Well, that's a couple of nights ago, in one of our communities, we had an incident where young folks were involved with some type of altercation, but guns was involved, and we had to bring in the county sheriff and et cetera, et cetera. And we're trying to get, to keep, to stop these young folks, understand, before they get to that point. And we've been very successful. Like Michaela Rainey's, understand, we were able to reach out and get her. Now she's impressing other young folks. So, it's a lot of things that's going on in the community, that, I'm not gonna just up and say that it's not going on, but there's a lot of things that is going on that is not acceptable in the community. But however, the young folks is caught up into environment that they were trapped in. Not that they're there by choice. They were trapped in these environment, and they want to come out. So we're going to help bring them out.
Yeah. How has the business community been responding to your center? Because
Well,
you need the help of all different facets.
It's not been what we expected and what we want. But however, we're going to accept what we have. We do have some businesses with us.
Yeah.
Like we have churches. We have about 5 clergy on our board. Understand through the churches and all, and we have the businesses like the funeral home businesses. Especially in Robin, the Person Funeral Home, understand, who's very supportive of us. And we have outreach to other businesses, and we're waiting a week. Well, they have until the 14th of this month to actually let us know whether or not they actually going to sponsor us or support it. So we're just waiting. But we anticipate that the businesses will be coming across.
Yeah. And this is a grassroots organization.
This is a grassroots, non-political, non-profit, diversified community organization, and our only mission is to educate and motivate the young folks. That's our only mission.
So, can we talk about role models?
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Michaela.
Mm-hmm.
She obviously would be a terrific role model,
Correct.
especially for the young girls,
Mm-hmm.
because they get to see what they could become.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned your son is an NFL player. I still am having a hard time with that, but I'm sorry, I just am. Will you get people in the community to come and address the kids, speak to the kids? Because kids need role models, and if they don't have it at home, they have to get it somewhere rather than from their peers. Because there's too much peer pressure to be cool and make mistakes.
Well, let me just be real honest with you. The concerned citizen is not a when you look at the older adult, it's not that they are in love with us because they feel that we're doing something that they should have been doing for a long time. We've had some confrontation from multiple organizations that have tried to stop us from being who we are. Reach out to some people in the highest office and stop them from coming to our meetings. We've had that to happen. But we have role models such as Reverend Jeff Person, who goes out and speak. We have Reverend Janice Martin. She goes out, she speaks and try to work. Reverend Judith Hatchett, she reaches out to the community, and they're all working with us on this board. So we have some role models. Again, we only a little bit over a year old, and we're in an infant stage now, but I can guarantee you the things that we do within the community, and once we pull this black tie
Event
together, once we put that together, we think that we're going to get a lot of other role models to come in and help us with these young folks.
Tell us about the black tie event. Where's it going to be?
Well,
September the 16th.
It's September the 16th. It's going to be at the Memory Lane. That's 161 Dawkins Street in Aberdeen.
Right behind the bowling alley.
Right behind the bowling alley. It's going to start from 6 to 6 p.m. to 12 p.m. Now, here's the beauty of this event. We are honoring our co-founder, who is Cam Thomas, the first in for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
He's the co-founder of this organization.
Okay.
So we're honoring him. Plus, we're giving out 15 other awards to individuals, businesses who have made a positive impact on the quality of life for residents in Moore County.
Fantastic. And this is going to be September the 16th.
September the 16th.
Tell me about ticket prices.
The tickets are $20.
Okay.
And you can RSVP your tickets by calling 910-474-2589. You need to do it right away because tickets is almost gone. We had 300 tickets, and I think we only have about 16 left.
So why are you even here? That's great. Well, you didn't even need to be here.
We just want to let the community. We just want to let the community know that we're here. We want to let the community know, understand that we love your child just as much as you do.
Right. That's very nice sentiment. We're going to come back in the third set. We're speaking with concerned citizens and the community, the concerned citizens for community actions, trying to make Moore County a better place to live for all. Not just for some. We'll be right back.
In the middle of I remember way back then when everything was good, when we would have such a very good time, such a fine time, such a happy time. And I remember how we played. We went to Father wears his Sunday best. Mother's tired, she needs a rest. The kids are playing up downstairs. Sister's sighing in her sleep. Brother's got a date to keep, he can't hang around.
Welcome back to the third and final set of All Things Moore County. Concerned citizens for community actions has been the topic of our conversation today. And this organization is moving forward full steam ahead, trying to raise funds, trying to increase awareness of what they're trying to do. They've been together for about a year, but with their September 16th fundraiser coming up at Memory Lane from 6 to 12, I think you said, Isaac?
Yes.
And tickets you have over 250 tickets sold already?
We have we have 280 tickets, I believe.
So that's a big head start, to put some money in the coffers.
Of course it is. And every dime will go into our bank account with Wells Fargo, and it will go towards building our recreation culture development center, every dime.
So tell me about the center that you're hoping to build. What do you want it to look like?
Well, in the center, we want to be able to, again, continue the education of folks. We'd like to be able to do some career development. We also like to do some job search, and it's various things we like to do. But it's just not a recreation center. It's about skill. It's
life skills.
Life skill, and that's what we want to do. We want to enhance, grow the life skill, so for our children can grow socially, scholastically, and athletically.
Yes. There have been, and maybe you don't want to mention names, but you've mentioned a couple of people who maybe came out of the system and got off on the wrong foot.
Mm-hmm.
But have righted their ways and have come back and have made successes of themselves. And that's very inspirational. And I think a couple of people that you have involved in the community stand as an example that if somebody does take a wrong step, they can right that wrong and put themselves back on the right track. And I get a moment of silence for that, but that's okay. That's on me. But but people learn from mistakes as well. You know, not everybody is born on third base, right? And so you have to start somewhere. And sometimes the people that overcome the most adversity can wind up being the most inspirational to younger people. See, don't I speak better except during the break? Not so much, right?
Yes.
You go, that was pretty good. But you've seen some of those stories.
Yes, I have. We have a young lady that we know of, and she had a story of her life when she was very young. She got into trouble and stuff, and so now she's built up on her own, and she's owned a company, and she's the CEO of it. She's the CEO of it.
Is that right? So sometimes people will stand back and they'll say, well, there's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy where people have certain expectations, where people will maybe take the wrong direction as a youngster, make mistakes, but that's not who they are.
No, it's not.
Right, and they can rise above it.
They can rise above it.
Isaac?
Well, you know, in society, we know that, you know, most of us, all of us, have made some mistake. But there are some mistakes that is made in life that, you know, everybody is, you know, just not all for making mistakes. They do want to make a change. And like the young lady that Janet had just spoke of, she's from out of Charlotte. She has this group called Beauty After the Bars.
Right.
A young lady that went away for 4 years in federal prison. And during the time in prison, she realized that, you know, the lifestyle that she was living wasn't the way, and that it was not going to get her very far in life. So while she was in there, she developed a plan to come back out into society and to be beneficial to society. So what she's doing now, she's out here and she talked to young folks and she let them know, I've been there, I've done that.
Right.
Understand? And you're not going to be successful if you continue to do it. And like you said, she's the CEO of her company, and she worked with a television program, and she traveled across America. So, you know, we do have, you know, everybody make mistakes, but there's some folks, understand, who want to retribute for the mistake they made. And that is where we at, and that's who the folks who's working with us, the role models to our young folks, showing the young folks, yes, I made a mistake. You're going to make a mistake, but if your mindset is right, you can straighten up and be a decent person in society.
Yes, and she also does speaking engagements.
Does she?
Yes, she does.
So she and the more you share a truth about something, the more you hold yourself accountable to that as well, and that's a very good thing.
Yes.
I had a thought. There's some of the agencies in Moore County, like the Boys and Girls Club. Do you foresee down the road perhaps some opportunities to do anything in a cooperative way, because they do provide some of the services that you're talking about?
Most definitely. We met with Carolina Edie,
yes,
the CEO,
great lady,
for the Boys and Girls Club, and again, that's how we had her program director at our meeting a few days ago. And we had agreed that she would help coach us, and we're gonna partnership with them so that we can reach more of the young folks that the Boys and Girls Clubs is not reaching. So we're going to be working, conjointly and trying to bring the young folks in and to give them a positive attitude to life.
Yeah. You also probably are always looking for volunteers.
Of course.
Is that correct?
We're looking for anybody in the profession. As a matter of fact, we have one lady who's the professor at Fairfield State University, April Raines. She's a professor at Fairfield State, and she has been working with us now for approximately 4 months. So we're looking for people to understand who have the skills and the ability, the talent, and the desire and the heart, understand, to help us, help the young folk to become the kind of citizen that all America would appreciate and respect.
Yeah. And Kathy, you, we were talking at the break about the possibility of putting a Facebook page together where people can go to read more about the organization. And that YouTube video of April's daughter,
Yes.
was very impressive. People get so much information today, on their computer, online. It's and as a secretary, and as you said before, that you're going out talking to people one-on-one. The idea of social media gives you a huge jump in an ability to reach out way beyond just the scope of our, individual efforts. It's a different culture, the way people see information today and the way they learn. So we're gonna hook up and we're gonna get a Facebook. I'm gonna hold you to it.
Okay, we'll get that started just tonight.
I know you will. I know, and I'm not putting you on the spot, but we're gonna go ahead and we want to post that because the more people that can know about what you're doing. Many of the people who we just had a show. I'll digress. There's a new coffee shop opening up in Aberdeen called High Octane. And if you've heard of it, but it's going to be downtown. And the people who are involved in it have put up a Facebook page. And every day they're posting information, pictures of what they hope it is to become prior to their opening on, I think, right after Labor Day weekend. Mm-hmm. And so people look and they see. They might not comment, but they'll be aware through osmosis. And it would be the same thing for you. And because there's so much competition out there, you almost have to have that presence. So, Isaac, you and I are from a different generation, but we have to get with it, huh?
Yes, we have to get with it. I feel to, when speaking on volunteers, anyone who wish to join, unite, come with us and help us with the young folk, they could, they can reach me at 910-474-2589.
Right.
And if you would like to make a donation to this cause, you can send your check to Post Office Box 66, West End, 27376. And once we get your check, we'll send you a 99 form so that you can write it off as a tax break. So, I just want to do what is right for these young folks. I want to do what's right for the community in Moore County, and become a part, of a county that is actually, putting out a community to understand that people wouldn't mind coming into.
Yeah. Well, I think you guys are off to a great start, and you know what? You have to start somewhere. And you've been in enough grassroots organizations to know that probably better than anyone else sitting at this table, huh, Isaac?
Well, Bill, again, it's part of life. I don't consider myself as being part of organization. I just been a good grooming in life. It was just good grooming. It was development. It was growth for me. And it gave me a positive perspective, an outlook on life, on how life should be and how we should live our life. So, the rewards don't come to me. They come to the folks who I work with.
Right. That's very well said. You just share and give to others, and the rewards happen, and they come the way they come. Right.
Yes.
In closing, I just want to ask you, Janet and Kathy, you do have you're planning a couple of events beyond the September 16th Black Tie Dinner.
Yes.
And these can all be these Facebook entries, and I'm going to watch you. She's smiling at me. But a couple of things that you do have coming up, if you want to just touch base with us on this.
We're planning a gospel concert early in October or late in the month at the West End Elementary School.
Yeah.
And also we're planning a pre-Christmas celebration the second week in December. Location and time to be determined.
Okay. And I have a feeling as things go on and you gather more moss, different events will come up.
Yes.
Yes.
You got to think outside the box to raise funds, and it's a challenge. But I get the impression that you all are going to stay true to the mission.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes, of course. Of
You know,
course.
day and night. We
From
live
240
it.
turn around now.
We believe
That's
in
right.
it, and we know that it can be done.
Yeah, and again, September 16th, the Black Tie event at, tell me, Memory Lane?
Memory Lane.
Right. That could be a kickoff to a lot of energy and a lot of excitement and maybe some different avenues
We hope
to,
so.
Yes.
to go down, right? I want to thank you guys all for coming in. Janet Person, co-chair, it was a pleasure. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
putting up with me and my my silly humor.
Thank you.
Kathy Dunlop, look forward to hearing from you, and we'll make sure we post your Facebook post on our podcast. And finally, Isaac Jenkins.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, thank you for starting the process of giving back and to the generation that needs it the most.
We appreciate it, and we're going to keep hope alive.
Yep. The group is Concerned Citizens for Community Action. It's just one of the many encouraging and reassuring things that happen in Moore County, where the county is always trying to provide nets for students of all ages and all walks of life. And that's one thing, Dorothy, that we've always talked about on the show, how good Moore County is at doing that, which makes it a great place to live.
Yes, it does.
Doesn't it?
Very much so.
That's a good note to end the show on, and we wish everybody a good week, and we'll talk with you next week.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Sees them off with the small kids. She's the one they're going to miss in lots of ways.